Welcome to Mouth of the Mural, a show that combines visual and performing art.
This episode brings us to a traditional church centered in the heart of Tampa.
Let's check out our feature mural. Whether it is 702-215-813, 919-850-407-504-48211, whether it's hoodies or Vans, tattoos, piercings, flip-flops, socks, Birkenstocks, texturized, natural, rice, tobacco, whether it is across the railroad tracks, across the Atlantic, suburban, rural, or downtown, the stories will always sound the same until we understand it is not our zip or area codes, but the hearts of people that must change, until we don't have to walk in one another's shoes in order to empathize with our pain, until the thought of advocacy on all levels reigns every neighborhood, every city, every state, every region, no matter where you are or go, east, west, south, or north, searing sun or wet snow. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So it's imperative that all of us seek to walk in love. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Mouth of the Mural. We're here with the senior pastor of Crosswind Church, Pastor John Apser. Pastor John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Walter. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. So you all have a beautiful mural. What inspired you all to actually do a mural at a church, no less?
Oh, thank you. What happened was I was trying to think of a way to get the word out about the church, and I thought about, painting billboards or getting billboards and things, but you only get to keep them up for a month or something like that. And so as I was driving around Tampa, I noticed there were a lot of murals. I mean, just everywhere. There were tons of murals, and people were putting them up everywhere. So I saw this side of our building, and I said, you know what? We could put a mural there. So then I put out on Facebook, does anybody know anybody that does murals? And a lady in the church connected me with another girl who they were friends, went to high school with, and she came out and said, yeah, I can paint a mural on there.
That's excellent. Now, are there any other churches in the city with murals? Have you noticed any?
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah, because I don't know of any as well. And that was one of the things that really stuck out about this whole thing is you've got a church with a mural, and some of the other murals that you mentioned around the city are in businesses or abandoned buildings and things of that nature. So what message or messages were you hoping to send with the mural?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. One is obviously the name of the church and our website and our logo, but then we have 4 values that we really cherish here. They're values that Jesus gave to the church of love, pray, serve, and compel. And so each one of these symbols on the mural represents those 4 values. Then we also painted the continents of the world because we have a desire to take the gospel of Jesus Christ into all the world so that everybody gets a chance to hear. And then we wanted an icon from each continent that would stand out as symbolic, like the Eiffel Tower in Paris, penguins down on the Antarctic, kangaroo in Australia, that kind of thing.
That's excellent. Now, what's response to the mural been like? Have you had anyone that has said, hey, I saw your mural outside and wanted to just stop in and see what you guys had going on?
A few people, not as many as I'd hoped, but one of the cool things about the story is the young lady that painted this mural, Cristalina Ramos, her whole family now goes to our church.
Wow.
Because of this. Her and her husband attend quite often. Her mother and father and her brothers and her nephew all attend the church here simply because we did the mural. And we also did a competition for the coolest photo that somebody could take in front of the mural, and somebody could win $100. And we had several people participate in that. So it's not got the traction I'd hoped, but it has gotten a lot of traction in that we have new families coming into the church because they saw the mural.
That's excellent. Now, you pastored in a number of different cities and states. You pastored in Virginia, I believe, and also Texas and El Paso, and in Chicago, Illinois. And you brought a lot of those elements from your previous appointments here. So what are some of the things that you have taken from those particular assignments and brought here to Tampa?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things is we love the arts. A lot of people think that the church is anti-art, but if you look back in the history of the church, a lot of the buildings were painted with murals inside the church, especially in the Catholic Church. And so when I've been in those larger cities and now here in Tampa, what I've noticed is the art community sometimes feels alienated from the church, but we want to embrace them, whether they're painting murals, whether they're poetry, whether it's music, all these different things. And someday I hope to have a school of the arts here at the church that people can come and develop their gifts and their talents for God's glory and for their futures as well.
Now, when you think about initiatives like Mouth of the Mural, and you just alluded to some of the things as far as from an artistic standpoint and the church, what are some of your future hopes for art and church here in the Tampa Bay area?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to see possibly a school of the arts someday where we can train younger people in the arts, but also that artistic expression happens in a lot of different ways at the church. We do plays here at the church, we do dramas, we do illustrated sermons, we do music. I have a desire and a dream to see a new urban style of worship emerge out of our church. We've had people paint while I've preached and to illustrate a sermon. In a couple of weeks, we're actually having our missions conference in November, and we are having a worship leader come, and his wife is an artist, and she's going to paint expressions of worship during that time. So we're looking for all avenues for artists to be involved. I mean, photography, web development, graphic design, anything that people feel like they can use as a gift and a skill for God, I'm all in favor of.
That's so powerful, Pastor John. And thank you again for having the heart and the mind to incorporate the arts into your faith and allowing individuals to express their God-given gifts and talents from the artistic standpoint with not only visual art, but performing art as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
For God so loved the world that he gave an international, irreplaceable, free gift. So big that Amazon, FedEx, or UPS could never handle this big lift. The sacrifice of all sacrifices, compassion for the lost, global forgiveness, healthcare, and a bloodstained cross. For God so loved the world that he gave free inclusive hugs for flawed people to be saved, too blind to sow and reap, feeble-minded yet indispensable leap. And what should happen when feet and hands will not or cannot stand, lest they be trashed like waste in foreign lands, landfills filled with salty regrets. 1,000 excuses are met with useful and fruitful trees that plant priceless seeds before the rain, before the wind, before the holy whisper of hello in different languages. Hola, bonjour, konnichiwa, alhan, nihauma, aloha. For God so loved the world that he gave Asia, Africa, North and South America, Europe, Australia, Antarctica, and shatter cultural boundaries. He is always working in compounding space and time, leading you back to the center, back to the cross. Welcome to Mouth of the Mural. I am here with Cmaine, the visual artist of our featured mural. All right, so Cmaine, tell me a little bit about what inspired you to get involved with visual arts.
Okay, well, I'd be more than happy to. Thank you so much for having me, first and foremost.
Thank you for saying yes.
Yes, ma'am. So it all started when I was a little girl in kindergarten. As my earliest art memory was in kindergarten. I used to have kids that would come up to me and ask me to paint their rainbows for them.
Okay.
Because I was
getting business way back then.
Right. I should have been charging them at least like, a goldfish or something.
Exactly.
But no, ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted to be an artist when I grew up. And just always loved coloring books. I have tons of coloring books. Just always loved doodling. I would get in trouble for doodling on my table.
Okay.
But
you were that one.
I was one of those. But no, it was good stuff though. It wasn't like kind of graffiti type stuff, just happy stuff. And as I got older, I just started to realize, okay, well, I love art. I wanted to be an artist when I grew up. And I felt like, okay, now that I grew up, what am I going to do with my art? Like, what am I going to do with this talent? And so I ended up getting into graphic design.
Nice.
Because I figure, okay, best of both worlds. Everything's about technology these days. Let me kind of incorporate my artistic skills with the computer world. And so I got my degree in graphic design, but I quickly found that it wasn't my passion.
Okay.
I felt too boxed in.
Okay.
I couldn't, get a grip on just always staring at the computer screen. And it has its perks. I love that I have those skills when I need them.
That's right.
But there's nothing compares to just having like the paint, and you know what I mean? Like being able to mix the paint in front of you and just throw that paint on the wall or the canvas and see it all come to life,
That's awesome. And believe me, many of us wish we had that gift. Because if I got some paint and started mixing stuff, it would not turn out like this. And with that being said, tell us a little bit about what inspired this beautiful mural.
Absolutely. So a friend of mine, she reached out to me and she told me, hey, my pastor, he's put a call on Facebook for a mural. And I know you do murals. I love your work. Is there any way you can reach out to my pastor? Maybe, you guys could work together. So absolutely. I reached out right away and I talked with Pastor John, and he's the one really that gave me the vision of what he wanted.
Okay.
He knew that he wanted to basically incorporate different nations, and he just wanted to show the community that this church is all, it's a melting pot. It's not just one race or the other. All denominations are welcome.
Nice.
And he kind of just left the creativity to me, but he started to tell me what he wanted involved. And so, yeah, basically I came up with the color scheme for him. I just came up with something that was going to be bright, that was going to pop, that was going to attract attention. We decided on the different characters. I pretty much showed him everything, like every step of the way. And I said, what do you think about this? He's like, I love that. Can we do this? And I'm like, okay, great. What do you think about this? He's like, okay, perfect. And I'm like, oh, well, I thought of something else. What do you think about this? And so, yeah, finally we came up with a design that we loved.
Beautiful.
And then it was just a matter of executing,
Awesome.
blowing it up.
So this was a collaborative brainstorming effort with you and the pastor, and so just amazing. And I mean, the bright colors, just beautiful.
Thank you.
For the location. So thank you for that.
Thank you so
and
much.
Were you surprised though, but that a church requested a mural? Did that come as a surprise to you?
It wasn't a surprise because I've seen other church murals before. And it's something that I always had a passion for in my heart. Like when I started to do art, before I had ever done a mural, one of the churches that I would go in, that I used to attend, I was like, wow, this wall would look amazing with a mural. But I had never done one, so I just didn't have kind of the courage at that time. And I knew that I always wanted to be involved with the art there one way or the other, but nobody had ever asked me to do a mural before.
Okay.
And so I was super excited when they told me that they wanted me to do a mural on such a exposed wall, especially in a neighborhood that, I know it has its history and it's up and coming. I just felt honored that I was able to kind of like bring some more life to it. And just brighten up the whole atmosphere, the whole area.
So this was your first mural?
No, this was not my first mural.
Girl, I was gonna say, are we amongst history here?
No, this was my first mural on a church.
On a church? Okay,
yes.
Awesome, wonderful. Okay, and so how do you balance your business with your passion work, and how do you find balance?
Well, for me, it's pretty easy to find balance because I feel like if you're not doing what you love, then you shouldn't really be doing it, right? So even though I take on jobs from different clients and they've all kind of got their different ideas and their different reasons for wanting to put up artwork, they reach out to me because they like my work and they like what I do. So they pretty much give me creative freedom.
And Crystalline, so tell us how we can find you.
So the best way to find me is either on Facebook or on Instagram. My handle is, well, I was going to say @ but it's A Splash of Passion Art.
Wonderful.
Crystalline Rojas.
Crystalline Rojas, A Splash of Passion.
That's right. But you got to throw the art at the end.
Okay.
A Splash of Passion Art.
Perfect. Thank you for that correction.
Absolutely.
All right. And thank you so much for being here with us at Mouth of the Mural.
My pleasure.
Giving hope, light, and inspiration.
Thank you. My pleasure.
The cross is always ready. Every day it waits for me. Dear God, are you waiting for me? Are you calling me? I know sometimes I run from you, and sometimes that is every day. How can that be when you have and you continue to do everything for me? The cross is always ready, and every day it waits for me. Would I be wrong to say that I don't understand why it waits for me? I shout to the heavens, wondering why, God, do you wait for me? Even here full of sin, rivers and mountains of mistakes, the prodigal child, but still you wait for me. With outstretched arms, full of redemptions, the cross is always ready, and every day it waits for you and me with the vision to see us set free, to experience what truth is and what true love is. Not a love that is filled with darkness that brings hell's gates. Not a love that we can't be adopted into, where we can find our identity, our purpose, the vision that died for us to birth in us, even with unclean hands and broken hearts. It waits for me. Dear God, you wait for us. You show us a pure, undefiled, sweet aroma of your love. The cross will always show us your love. Thank you for never giving up on me, God. Every day you have waited for me, restoring my vision to see what you see in me, to believe in who you say that I can be. Now I know why the cross waits for me.
Welcome to Mouth of the Mural, and we are here today with Michelle Morton of As She Speaks.
And Chris Tunsil from the Winner's Circle. Amazing performance, you all. Thanks so much for joining us.
Of course.
All right, so tell us a little bit how you all got into your respective art fields.
Well, I've been writing poetry since I was a young girl, and I kind of started there. And then from there, I started performing in high school, and then in college I performed when I moved away from Tampa, born and raised. And then when I came back after my master's degree from Fort Myers, I moved back to Tampa, joined Black on Black Rhyme, and started hitting the open mics heavy.
Okay.
My old church crossover, I was performing there, and then I transformed into outside of the church into the community to bring the gospel to the community. And so from there, I just mixed my love of poetry and mental health together, and that's where I started.
And you were just doing it. You were just doing
That's
it.
right.
I really did. Well, you see, the reason I did poetry was because it was for more of a self-care thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my outlet after doing long sessions all day with clients. And I was like, I got to get this stuff out of me. So I just started hitting open mics really hard. And then I started to take the craft more seriously and pursue my gift as a career.
All right, and Chris, what about you?
Yes, sir. So I started out actually in liturgics. So I started dancing liturgics in my teen years. We started going to church, being active in the church. My family was pretty heavy in the arts, music, dance, etc. So me being in church young, bored, bored, not much to do. So my aunt actually pulled me, my siblings, and my brother and my sister, and started teaching us how to do interpretive dance. And it wasn't a lot of boys or men that did that during that time. Okay. So we started out learning the basics, and then as time progressed, I progressed, and I moved into mime. I learned the difference between the two, liturgics and mime. So what you see today is like a mixture of both, of the expression, and then the interaction of the sound or whatnot. So it's just a mixture of the two. It kept me out of trouble. It kept me busy in the church, listening to the songs. It built my faith as well, and it gave me a way to express You know, a lot of times when frustrated or upset or hurt, you know, sometimes we don't find a lot of people that we can talk with. So an expression like Michelle's way is writing her poetry. I can express through my body movement. I can express through my dance moves, you know, and then that also is relatable to those that's watching. It's like, okay, I can relate to the words of that song, you know, through the body movement, the emotion. It's like, okay, now I can connect emotionally with what he's portraying, you know. So it kept me out of trouble.
You keep saying that, it kept you out of trouble.
Hey, that needs to be said.
It kept me out of trouble and gave me a way to express myself, you know, and it also built my faith as into learning the different fundamentals of the gospel through listening to the songs.
Awesome. And so what's something that you want to accomplish with your artistry? Like, what's that thing you want to leave people with?
I think for me personally, I want people to recognize that there's healing in your gifting. You're bringing healing to other people, but you're also healing yourself. So my focus would be healing, and to really helping people see like that mental health is important, and that, you know, we don't have to just talk about it, but we can express mental health. Like, if you're going through something, you have to be able to express that and not just suppress it. It's a form of coping. Arts is a form of coping. So I think for me personally, I use the arts for self-expression, mental health, self-care, and to really, you know, take force on really caring about your well-being, expressing that in a form of art that you find that is important, even if that was painting. So I'm always about being whole and really going after your healing, because it stinks to walk around this earth with pain and anger and all these things inside of your heart when you need to release it. Because if you don't release it, you're never going to be the person that you really could be. So I think that's my focus.
So mental healing, healing of self.
Mind, body, and soul.
Mind, body, soul.
Mind, body, and soul.
Beautiful.
Yes, my goal is to encourage others through the messages of the songs, find a way to connect with them and with the population that I serve, for them to, one, if they don't have a skill, pick up a skill, you know, of the art, and connect with themselves internally. My goal would be to have them connect with themselves internally and motivate them to surpass whatever challenges that they are experiencing. And the reason for that is a lot of times in our community, we don't see, like I said before, you don't see a lot of young people expressing themselves healthy in a healthy manner or an effective manner. So this is something that's healthy. This is something that's effective. This is something that also builds you spiritually. So I want people to be able to build themselves spiritually and connect with themselves emotionally.
We see a lot of murals around the city, but I don't think there are very many murals on churches or that are a part of a church. And so what were your first impressions when you saw the mural here, and how did it inspire your dance and your poem?
Well, there's a song by Jason Upton. He's a really well-known Christian singer, and he has a song called "The Cross is Always Ready." And so when I saw the cross, the picture of the cross and all the color in the background of it, and being that it's close by the youth center, I was like, okay, it's ready. The cross is always ready. It's ready for redemption. It's ready for us to come with our vulnerability. It's ready for us to come with our brokenness, our heartaches, our failures, our mistakes. So when I thought about it, I thought about how when I was in college, I went through that period in my life where I felt like that. And so I remember the cross, and that's where it all first started for me, where I learned how to come and be vulnerable and come and say, like, God, I need you. It is always a reminder of his forgiveness, his redemption, his blood. And I think that that's a beautiful thing when you can think of that.
Yeah. I saw diversity. So when you look at it, it has the different cultures around the entire globe and its artifacts in each continent. And in the middle of the entire globe is the cross. And you know, at the end of the day, it's Christ, it's God at the center of creation. You know, and without the judgments of who you are or what you grew up in. You know, that brings that diversity. I know in the word it says that Christ is all things to all people. You know, so immediately that's what I saw was the diversity within the cross, and we lost that. We lost that. And the other thing was the color. The cross is in the middle of a circle, and the circle is blue. You know, and it's almost like a sapphire blue. Sapphire blue is one of my favorite colors. Sapphire is the color of the jewels around the fire around God's throne. You know, so sapphire represents the glory and the fire of God. That's in the middle of the continent. If the society can get back to the principles of creation, I believe we'll see the glory of God pour out over all our issues, over all our problems, over everything that we have that's going on in this world today.
You better preach. We're getting word, we're getting mental health, we're getting self-care, we're getting it all inside out and outside in. So thank you for that. Now, with the beautiful packaging that you guys have together, how was it for you in this collaboration experience?
So, we're being honest, I'm just playing. No, let's be honest. We started a journey called Journey to Wellness, and I was amazed just watching his art form in a different way than I do my art form, because poetry is a little different and then dance is different. And I didn't realize how much work it took. And I was like, wow. I recorded you. I did. I'm gonna use that for Instagram later.
Oh man.
But yes, I recorded him and I was like amazed. I was like, I never got to see him practice before.
Okay.
So collaboratively, I feel that I respect him on a whole nother level as an artist. Aside from being your girlfriend, but like I really feel like you have such amazing gifting, and so it helped me to see where all of it comes from, like the counting, we both are very similar. We have to worship before we write or dance, so we took time just to worship God in our church, and we prayed, and then we soaked in the Spirit. And so I play my music over and over. He kind of does the same thing too. So it's like repetition and letting the Spirit speak. So I like that that I was able to see the Holy Spirit move in both of us. But we also had to cut some things. So that was hard, not taking control over that, because I had to cut a lot of my words. And I was like, I'm an artist. This is like, you're hurting me, right? This is hurting me right now. I'm like, I can't cut my words, but you have to learn how to compromise. And it's a relationship builder. It's like a really good relationship builder in activity for teamwork.
Wonderful.
So TBH, it was challenging. From my perspective, it was a fear of letting her into that part of me, because I'm like, all right, this is my private worship in order for me to tap into creativity, and I don't let a lot of people see that part of me. So I had to, all right, you know what, Tampa, we already here, so let's keep it moving. And then at times while we were coming together to like planning it, I'm like, okay, well, look, she's not listening to me. She don't understand. I see her gift. I like that her artistry, but she doesn't get my artistry. You know what? No, we're not doing this. We're not doing that. And then so I had to like die back and be like, okay, Chris, it's not just you dancing. It's not just you taking a track or a song. It's something. She's actually coming from her heart and writing something. So I was like, okay, God, I got that. So now we need to get to the next point. So it was another level of communication for us. And we saw another part of where, and I love when I came out the bathroom. That's TMI, I'm sorry. But I came out the bathroom and I saw her in the corner over there worshiping. I was like, yes.
I didn't even know you were watching me.
10-4.
You all actually hit on something that's a big part of what Mouth of the Mural is all about, is that idea of providing the opportunities for that collaboration between the art fields and the forms, and also within the disciplines. And as you all talked about, from the faith standpoint of being able to recognize our differences, but see them as strengths rather than instruments that divide us, where now I'm on this side and you're on that side. And for the longest time, visual artists and performing artists, where you all have your thing, we have our thing. And what we seek to do with this platform is say, no, how can we come together? Because we're both united as far as artistry, but let's have some opportunities for us to collaborate on some projects, some dialogue, some discord. You painted something, let's talk about your process behind it so that there can be a greater appreciation for what people are seeing. And let me put words to it, and you being able to understand my process as well. So you all have done a beautiful job of exemplifying that with the dance and the poem that you all have put together. So both of you all are very active in the community, of course, with the Winter Circle and also with As She Speaks. Can you share a little bit about any upcoming projects that you all have?
So we, As She Speaks actually has an open mic. A lot of people don't realize that we are a company, so we're not just an open mic, but we provide workshops and trainings for women in the community, and also virtually because of COVID, we've had to switch to a lot of virtual events. So our focus is to really help women be healed and find their calling and to use their voice, because every woman has a voice. So we focus on young women, older women, and then also transitioning women into that adulthood, because that's very difficult, you know. So we have an open mic that's going to be coming up again. We also have the Poets Need Mental Health, and we've allowed the poets of Tampa and even around the world. We've had people from New York and California come. So we have that coming up, and we have a lot of projects coming up in the next year. But the Poets Need Mental Health is basically a group where, you know, we facilitate it, and then we have a poet help, and then we do poetry and mental health together, and we fuse it together. As I say, where art meets mental health, that's our other slogan. We have a lot of slogans. As She Speaks, She Will Be Heard, but it's where art and mental health collide together. So for us, we really want to start doing more projects with art and mental health, and really using the clinical therapists of our community. And I have so many people in my circle that are therapists, and they've come to the open mics. They've you know, I had a friend yesterday, she came with her clothing line to the open mic that we had, and it was based on mental health. So our focus is to really push mental health, but to use poetry as that. So we'll be doing more events on poetry and mental health together. The next one will be the open mic, and we do Poets Need Mental Health every month of the second week.
Okay. The Winter Circle, our primary focus is to motivate, educate, and inspire youth and young adults that are in hardship to overcome their hardship, identify who they are as an individual, and pursue their purpose in life. And it is a faith-based program. And in order to, we have our opportunities of witnessing or discipleship within the program, despite religious background, ethnic background, etc. Because I truly believe that in order to identify who you are, you've got to connect with the Creator. You have to be able to connect with the Creator. And we want to motivate and encourage our youth and our young adults that are churched and unchurched to be able to get to that point. And one of the ways that we will be striving to get them to that point is through the art of mind. You know, that's sowing that seed that's there, listening to the music, as well as learning the discipline of it. We do have sessions right now that's here in Hillsborough and Pinellas County every other Saturday. Right now we're at 5. We have 5 youth. Right now they're all boys. We are co-ed. For the 2021 to 2022 school year, we're only taking 10. And we're doing it pro bono. It's without charge. The sign-up process is at our website, which is www.winnerscircle, and it's spelled with a WYNNERS circle.org. We do full assessments with them, and it's similar to targeted case management. Okay. So we do a full assessment with the entire family, the child, the parents, or whoever the caregiver is. We want to figure out, okay, what does the family feel is the issue is right now, or what are the goals for the child? And then I talk with the child individually to figure out, okay, hey, what are your goals? What do you want to do? What are you aspiring to do? And from there, we develop a goal plan. that levels out how to, just as we do as adults. You know, we have our to-do list, the stuff that we have and that we've learned, we pouring it back into this younger generation to keep them on track, out of the streets, out of the detention centers, out of the pipeline system, broken, etc. So that's our ultimate goal, is serving as the Winter Circle. Upcoming events, it's funny that so one, we are actually we're in planning of a collaborative event, actually within the next month and a half.
Yes, we are.
So we haven't mentioned it to anyone. We are also partnered with
So a secret event.
Exclusive.
Yes, it is. We're dropping it. Like,
Okay.
Yes.
So we are partnered with another nonprofit here in Tampa, Victorious Living, and they've given us the space, a 4-hour space, to do something within the community without charge. So we're taking that time to do a collaborative event on personal growth, and we're going to reach out to our fellow leaders and do a 1-day session.
We got you.
We'll be calling you, if you know.
Shameless plug. We like those.
But
Yeah.
our focus is to really take both of our businesses, Winter Circle and Ashley Speaks,
Yes.
and really help our community. And we're hoping that we know that this event will be something that will really help serve our community overall.
And the last event would be, for the past year, she been on me about doing my lunch event.
Nice. You better listen to your blessing.
So we are, I haven't even told her, but I've been working behind the scenes with some really good friends of mine to aim for next year, where we will have a major hit in our area that encompasses the arts, our faith, and some life application professionals. And we are going to host our lunch event for the Winter Circle. So that's TV.
Yeah.
Exclusives right here.
You heard it
Winter
right here on
Circle
Mouth of the
launch.
Mural.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate having you two here with us on Mouth of the Mural. To close us out, we have one final question to ask you. What would you say to an artist who's interested in being a part of Mouth of the Mural?
I would say, if you're going to be a part of something, understand the vision of it, understand the impact of it, and know that if you're really contributing to what you all are doing in the community, have heart and really desire to see change, because I know you all do this for change and to bring arts and awareness to the community. So I would say that if any artist comes on here to the platform, don't come on here for clout. Come on here because you want to see a change in your community and you want your art to be a part of that change.
Wow.
Powerful.
Yeah, I can't top that. I can't top that.
Well, Chris, Michelle, thank you all so much for joining us for Mouth of the Mural, and thank you for your contribution to the community as well.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the season finale of Mouth of the Mural.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe at mouthofthemural.com.
If a picture's worth 1,000 words,
Let's find them.